Now, here's a couple of things when it comes to whether it's recruiting, the transfer portal, the timeline of commitments. It's always been, and forever until the last, 3 or 4 years, you would commit to a football team, and then in February, the first Wednesday in February, you would have National Signing Day. Then they created December, and it kind of like almost put a wet blanket on February because then everyone was signing in December and then enrolling, get it on campus. Here's a quote from Joe Moglia. The school, and this is about recruiting and commitments. Moglia's idea, a 48-hour period to sign after an offer is made, and here's the quote. The school and the kid sign the document, and it's done. He cannot be recruited, that's it. To make it stable, part of the scholarship is you have to stay there for at least a year. Those two things in a 48-hour window to sign after you've been offered is at least a 1-year commitment to the school. That doesn't mean they can't get in the transfer portal or whatever. That's one idea. Now, there's going to be some that completely disagree with that. That's fine.
Yeah, because there's anytime stuff like this pops up, then there's inevitably a lawyer who says, "Well, that would lead to an antitrust or some other thing." And so I don't know all that well enough to know like if that would immediately be like out of bounds, and there would be people striking right through that idea or not. So the lawyers out there, those who have that idea, please let us know. But I mean, that sounds great. I think that once you sign to a school, that's the school you should go to. And yes, the other schools should back the F off. Lincoln Riley, whoever that's, making phone calls that are alleged to have, been infiltrating, teams and trying to pull their players. And I'm not, trying to squarely pinpoint on him. He's just, it's like
that's got most of the smoke.
Yeah, but that should be out of bounds. That should be totally off limits. And anybody that argues that it shouldn't be, you want to say like, oh, players should be free agents unless you put them under contracts and blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of that. Okay, well then, if that does eventually happen, there's going to be a lot of things that go the other way too. Best believe that.
Eventually there will be.
And you're not going to have everything for free no matter what, no cost, you could go to jail and still get all the money. You put them under contract, there's eventually going to be some other things that do sway the other way. But with this, if you recruit a guy and you get him to sign, he should be on your campus for at least 1 year, or she, and they should back the F off. And now if after that period, Lincoln Riley or Kim Mulkey or, just whoever wants to call them and try to re-recruit them, well, then that's something different you got to address. But there should not be any doubts about when you initially sign somebody that you should not have to worry about them for at least a year. That should be bottom line.
Here's the point as well. I agree. Again, we understand that some might, oh, my God, like grab your pearls or whatever they're called. Moglia's idea is this. Don't have a signing period. Every day could be a signing period. Don't have February or December, and he'll clarify this tomorrow. Every day, if you offer a kid on August 15th, he has until August 17th to sign. And if he does, he's signed. Or November 1st or July 7th. It doesn't matter. So that's another one of the quotes. And again, not everybody has to agree with this. We're going to get to the chat room, and we're going to open the phone lines up in the next segment a little bit later than I wanted to.
I will say this just really quick. The only thing because you've heard me, I've been all for, mostly because I just hate signing day.
Yeah.
But just having it, open and available, there will be some unintended consequences to that in that I would think that there might be more high school kids that once they sign will do the opt-out thing and not play high school ball. I don't think that's going to be big, but there's probably some unintended consequences to that on the high school level or down the line that people aren't thinking of, but I would still be kind of all for it in theory.
I don't know that and here's the thing is you can disagree with one of them and still agree with all the other ones. But this one I'm not so sure about just because I think that gets a little bit wonky. And primarily the first problem that I see with that is the ever-changing mind of high school athletes. You might be fresh off that visit to Austin and feel like in that 48-hour period or whatever that you want to sign with UT, and you do it in September, and then your season goes along, and here comes Oklahoma and Georgia, and then, oh, wait, you signed up already. So what's going to happen? Not everybody's going to go, you know what, I signed, I can't do this. What's going to happen? I went out of my NIL, and then boom, here goes the whole thing all over again, and then there's a lawsuit.
If you buy a car, you can't just walk away from the payment. If you buy or sign something, you can't just say that doesn't count anymore.
People
right?
find ways to get out of
No,
it
I
pretty
know.
much everything.
Well-
I mean, and you're acting like that hasn't happened. Like, we just saw, I mean, Hal Presley signed with Auburn. He was on their campus, or maybe he's not even the best example. There's been multiple guys that I know of on signing day who have signed and then they want to get out of it, like almost immediately after. I can recall, not names at the moment, but I know that I've seen that occur more than a couple of times. Wasn't Hal Presley on Auburn's campus for like a couple months and then he transferred to Baylor?
Was Brew McCoy?
Yeah.
I mean, same thing.
That's the
Yeah.
example,
So,
yeah.
like, I mean, those guys signed. Brew McCoy is on his third school, but was committed elsewhere twice. And, you know, like,
Okay.
so there's going to be Brew McCoys, basically. And that's the first problem that I see with that.
Well, you sign something. Before you do, you have to know the consequences.
Did Brew
And your
McCoy
coach-
sign?
No, I'm not saying that. That's the example of what Joe Moglia is trying to say. You have to have some give and take here. It can't just be right now. It's 100% a one-way street after what was forever a one-way street the other way.
No, I agree. What I'm saying is that Brew McCoy did sign and he did get on campus and then he still changed his mind.
yeah.
So, like, so he signed like this would be signing, and yet this is what I'm saying. This would be the problem because, you know, that's exactly what happened.
When we come back, we're going to read some of your